going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Beer Battered Sports Podcast, the podcast created by sports fans for sports fans because we believe that we are the most qualified to talk about our favorite teams. I'm your co-host, Isaac.
And I'm Kylie.
And I'm half awake 40.
And welcome to episode 51 of the podcast, which is a little earlier than usual. Your boy has some work schedule changes, so don't be surprised if we have to do an early episode again. But it's all good. We're here. We're ready to go. And we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. Quick shout out in the comments, Mike Giletto from Fired Up Sports. What's
Hey.
going on, Mike? Thanks for
Hi,
being
Mike.
thanks for being flexible, allowing us to get the show done early today. My apologies. But anyway, we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. Before we start the episode, yeah, Calvin's ready now.
I'm fully ready to go now.
Before we start today's episode, great news coming out of Buffalo. Damar Hamlin has been released from the hospital. Woo!
That's amazing.
Very good.
I know
Yeah.
last week we were so the whole podcast we were a little more
Focused
more
on that.
focused, a little more muted. But now that it's official that he's out and he's up and he's awake, and that his first words apparently upon awakening is "Who won the game," which is both awesome and also kind of very, in a way, it's kind of damning on the NFL that after a serious injury, the first thing a player wakes up, he automatically assumes, well, they had to continue the game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
One-
none of that matters because at the end of the day, he's up, he's been discharged from the hospital, and he's about to cause Buffalo to go on a murderous rampage through the NFL playoffs.
Yeah,
I'm,
absolutely.
I'm actually very happy to see that he's up, moving, discharged, and stuff like that because when it first happened, I honestly thought he died. I really did. Like,
I did
it's,
too.
as sad as it is to say, I thought he was gone. So it's a beautiful thing, and, respect to the higher ups for helping that man have some time left here on Earth.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and shout out to the medical workers at University of Cincinnati Hospital. They did God's work, my man. They
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a great thing to see. The feeling of relief is
Mhm.
really it's a nice feeling
Yeah.
to have.
Yeah, it's a big sigh of relief, and it's like a weight has been lifted off everybody's shoulders a little bit because everybody was kind of like, because I mean, obviously, once we got the fact that he was on 50% oxygen instead of 100%, you're like, okay, he's definitely trending in the right direction. You can relax a little bit, and then when he left Cincinnati, went to Buffalo, you're like, okay, that's great. He's about to be out, and now that he is officially out, that's nothing better.
I just want to say the fact that the doctor's first after he wakes up, he's like, "Yo, who won the game?" And the doctor's like, "You won the game of life." If I'm in that position, I'm looking at the doctor, I'm like, "You've been waiting your entire career to say that, haven't you?"
No, but back to what you were saying about it being a damning look on the NFL. It is kind of sad that him thinking that the NFL would have still played that game under the
Yeah.
circumstances, and it
Yeah.
just shows you how much of an entertainment based league it is.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting is that in the past when we've seen serious injuries like that, you always wonder, what the mindset of can the players even go back out there and keep playing after something like that happens. And I think
Yeah.
this is going to be a turning point where the NFL starts saying, okay, let's ask the players, are you guys comfortable with keep playing after that? Because I don't know if we'll ever see something as serious as that again, because that seems to me like it was just a freak once in a lifetime incident. Like the last time something like that happened on an NFL field was 1971. Which, by the way, the NFL made them finish that game after the player died.
Wow.
Chuck Hughes, wide receiver for the Lions, went into cardiac arrest during a game against the Bears, died on the field with a minute to go in the game, and the NFL told the two teams, you finished that game.
Wow.
And
I
y'all
didn't
think
even-
the NFL is messed up today. But
Yeah. Jesus, that's it sucks. And it really seemed like a lot of people took the human approach, and a lot of people have started to really notice and appreciate the human instead of the player.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, they are still people, and a lot of people forget to realize that. because they're just on TV playing a game that we all love and we just love watching it. And so well, I understand it's kind of easy to forget that at the end of the day, they are humans. And I think this has really put that into perspective on a bigger scale.
Not only are they humans, to pick up on what you said, Kylie, not only are they humans, this is their 9 to 5, you know? So
Yeah.
It's like they were saying that if he was put on IR, then he wouldn't get the full amount of his contract or whatever. But the Bills and the NFL ended up working something out so that he does get that full amount of money and stuff. But had it been any other injury, if he injured his knee or his leg or, you know, something like that, then they're not giving him that full amount of money there, you know? So it's like these guys' these guys' lives and jobs are affected by these injuries and all these things that happen as well. So, and a lot of people forget that as well, because like you said, they're on TV and we love to watch it and stuff like that. But this is their job, just like we work a regular 9 to 5.
Yeah. And Calvin, you were not a member of this podcast when we originally were doing this. We interviewed a former NFL player, TJ Barnes, and one of the last things we asked him is what's like the biggest misconception of NFL players or like professional players in general. And he pretty much said that it's a normal 9 to 5. Not everybody's making those millions of dollars and, you know, doing all this. So
not everyone is Roquan Smith.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to use a recent example.
Right. Exactly. So
Mike says, how aren't contracts guaranteed? Wonder if they'll be. I think after this, the NFL will take a look at it. I've noticed that they seem to be taking this whole situation way more serious than they have previous player injuries. Like, you guys remember Zach Miller? Was that who it was? The Bears receiver who nearly lost his leg in that game against the Saints, like in 2017. And like,
I don't remember.
Yeah, he caught that. He got this ridiculous touchdown pass. I remember because I was watching that game because I wanted to see the Saints die. He caught this ridiculous circus catch, and as he goes down, his leg got snapped completely in half. Brutal injury, ended his career. The dude went on to he never played again, and he nearly lost the leg during surgery. And apparently, like, you know, the situation. It was one of those situations where because he was very young into his career, he didn't get the money or something like that. I could be misquoting that. I'm going to double check to make sure I'm right on that story, but I vaguely remember something like that. I feel like this is a turning point where the NFL starts to say, okay, how we need to start treating our players, not just like, you know, their pawns for our entertainment and like actual people, because the players aren't being forced to play. They want to play. They want to go out there and play because, you know, they love to do it and it's their job. But if it gets to but there has to be a point where the sanctioning body as a whole says, hey, we got you guys' back, not, you know, go out and make us money.
Yes.
And I think you can balance that, because I think at the end of the day, the NFL, you know, they want to keep making money, and I get that. I think everyone on this planet wants to be in that position where we can make lots of money. But there has to be a balance point where they can still make those millions and also be like, and here you go, players, and here you go, and start, you know, share the wealth. I'm gonna get real Karl Marx up in this bitch. Share the wealth. Quote that.
Getting Karl Marx up in this bitch. God damn it, Isaac.
It definitely should be like that though, because it's you know, this is as we saw with Damar Hamlin, this is one of the most dangerous sports in all of America, you know?
Yeah.
These guys, some of these guys can clock up to 20 to 22 miles per hour. And if you at 22 miles per hour are running full speed and another guy at 22 miles per hour is running full speed, you guys come to a collision. That's like a mini car crash, you know? So it's like guys hitting each other head on full speed at 20 miles per hour is basically like a mini car crash. So these guys' brains are jolting every time, you know, they take contact or make an impact or something like that. So it's very deadly to their body. So I feel as if they should definitely be getting guaranteed money due to how physical the sport is.
Yeah. And this just reminds me, Calvin, the way you said it, you know, spreading the wealth and everything. When, take it to a different sport, when Bryce Harper was looking for his big contract, he was asked why he wants the money he wants and all that stuff. And he said because the MLB makes a lot of money, and I feel that it should be put back into the players who are making you this money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
And that's the thing too. These owners wouldn't even have commissioners, all those guys. They wouldn't have all that money if these guys weren't out there doing what they're doing every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday.
Yeah.
exactly. And sometimes Saturday.
Sometimes Saturday too.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good pivot point. So we could start pivoting over to our actual NFL stories, because with Week 18 having been wrapped up, the playoff field is set. The final playoff spots have been set. I want to spend most of this time in today's episode talking about the playoffs and what we expect, but let's quickly go over some of the highlights from Week 18.
Yeah.
First, in the AFC, Jags beat the Titans to clinch the AFC South in a game that I thoroughly enjoyed. That was a fun game to watch.
God, that was great.
Yeah. The Titans have been vanquished. Their 1960s style offense will not be in the playoffs. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah, seriously.
I love that the Titans are out because their play style is so boring because they rely on Derrick Henry so much.
Yep.
But I honestly kind of hate too that and I'm switching here. I'm on the same topic of football, but it just reminded me that I also hate that the Dolphins are in because Tua has not been cleared for concussion protocol, so they're kind of going to be boring, just like the Titans would have been.
So
yeah, speaking of which, I guess Tua is officially out for next week. So
Skylar Thompson's going to be getting the start. It's going to be the first time since who was that Raiders quarterback who the emergency quarterback the Raiders had start that playoff game for them? It was no, it's not that. It's the last time we had a situation like this. Was Taylor Heineke.
Heineke, yeah.
Heineke didn't play too bad in his first playoff game. We should have upset the Bucs that night.
You guys really should. That game was frustrating to me. That was a game. It's like, why are we not winning? I wasn't scared during the game because we were mostly up, but I was like, why aren't we winning by more?
Yeah.
Speaking of that Bucs team, for just the sixth time in NFL history, a team with a losing record will be in the playoffs. The 2022 Bucs joined the 1982 Browns, 1982 Lions, 2010 Seahawks, 2014 Panthers, and 2020 Commanders as the only teams to ever make the playoffs with a losing record. To be fair, two of those teams qualified for the playoffs during the strike-shortened 82 season when only 9 games were played. But of those other teams, you had that Seahawks team that's arguably the worst playoff team of all time, that Panthers team that was 7-8-1, and that Commanders team that won Tank Division. So we're an elite company. Woohoo! We're gonna get wrecked by Dallas.
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
You're not.
Probably not. No.
Dallas is so trash. It's just unbelievable because it's just. Listen, as a Commanders fan, I honestly was like shocked Sunday. Like I didn't expect us to be in that ball game at all. Like people were even saying to me, like I had Dallas fans hitting me up before the game and stuff like that. Like, this is y'all Super Bowl today, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bro, honestly, I don't even care. I don't expect us to win, if you want me to be honest with you. And even when we were winning throughout that game, for whatever reason, I couldn't cheer. It was like, we're winning, but like what's going on? Like,
nah, y'all beat Dallas. It's great.
It was such a weird game, though. It was like,
it was weird. I was watching the highlights of that game yesterday, and I kept looking back. It's like, this is the Washington we could have gotten this year. I gotta say now, Sam Howell, I liked what I saw. I don't know if it's just it's a flash in the pan type of performance, but Sam Howell showed me he should be in conversation for the starter next year. He should be the starter.
Too early to tell.
Too early to tell.
He reminds me of a lot of a guy that I don't like.
Oh.
Yeah. So hopefully he's not going down that path. I hope that he I hope he proves something to me, but he couldn't really do anything with that dumbass offense that Scott Turner calls, and I'm so glad that we got rid of him. And we'll have a new play caller next year. So maybe Sam Howell can show me something in a better ran offense. And he did impress me a little bit, but I don't – the arm talent's not there. I didn't really see the arm strength. I really just saw a lot of check down stuff, dick and dime. He did have a couple of long balls to McLaurin, but the one long ball that was called pass interference, it was completely underthrown. It shouldn't have even been a pass interference call. So Sam Howell definitely has a lot to prove, but he did show that he should maybe be in the conversation for being a starter next year.
Maybe. Speaking of Scott Turner getting fired, Black Monday was a little lackluster. There weren't a lot of big firings. Only 2 teams fired their coaches: Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim were fired from the
Finally.
Cardinals. Yeah, thank God. And Lovie Smith was fired by the Texans, which I don't like that.
I disagree with it because what the hell do you expect him to do with that roster?
No, that's why they did that, Kylie. They set it up like that on purpose. They knew he wasn't going to be able to do anything with that roster. They brought him in because he was the only guy that was going to go coach that stupid ass roster. And then they fired him because that stupid ass roster didn't do anything, which they already knew.
Yeah.
And, they just used him as the scapegoat.
I'll say this. Lovey managed to get that team to start to fight in the second half of the season. Those games against Dallas and Kansas City were ridiculous. And that final game against the Colts, where he basically said, screw tanking, let's go out and get the win over one of our most hated rivals. That's the kind of grit and determination that I love Lovie Smith for. I might be biased because he used to coach the Bucs, but I feel so bad for Lovie Smith because he always gets stuck coaching teams that just are so trash and have terrible rosters, and he's always used as a scapegoat. He's a good coach. He got the Bears with Rex freaking Grossman as their quarterback to the Super Bowl. People kind of tend to forget that Bears team with Urlacher and Speedy kick returner.
Devin Hester.
Oh my God, why did I forget? Wow.
How do you forget Devin Hester?
Can't forget Devin.
The Alzheimer's is setting in at 25. No, there's another quote. No, that's bad. That's bad. That team, that team's defense and special teams were amazing. People forget their offense was led by Rex freaking Grossman.
Mm-hmm.
And he's Rex Grossman and Matt Forte. And Matt Forte was actually pretty good. And somehow Lovie Smith got that team to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
To be fair, the NFC that year was doo-doo. I mean, looking back, the runner-up in the NFC that year were the Saints 1 year after Katrina. that season in the NFC was a rough one. But yeah, Lovie Smith doesn't deserve this.
No.
If he wasn't such a defensive-minded guy, I would love to have him in Washington, replacing Scott Turner. But he's not an offensive-minded guy, so
yeah.
He can be our defensive coordinator. Come to Philly.
Yeah.
Hey, congrats to Philly on getting the ones. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, imagine him controlling that defense, dude. Ugh.
Yeah, congrats to Philly.
Salivating.
It's nice to see an NFC East guy at the top. Fellow.
That isn't the Cowboys.
That isn't the Cowboys, exactly.
Yeah, Philly clinched the number 1 seed. Kansas City got the number 1 seed for the AFC. And I just want to say this about the Chiefs real quick. I know I've said this before, but I got to say this officially. The Chiefs have gotten to the point in their window of hang on, I got to sneeze. Hang on.
Bless you.
Or did I?
Mute yourself.
Now I'm not going to sneeze. Thanks a lot, Kylie.
You're welcome. Keep going.
The Chiefs during this competitive window that they've been in have gotten to the point where people are starting to get bored of them. But it's not to the same level that we've seen with the previous team that was this successful over this amount of time with the Patriots. This Chiefs team gives me a lot of Patriots vibes in that they're going to be dominant no matter what. This season proved that even without Tyreek Hill, they could still, be arguably the best team in the league heading into the playoffs. I say arguably because I'm looking at San Francisco and I'm very terrified about what I see. That Niners team is, by the way, my pick to go to the Super Bowl. We'll get into that later. But
they're mine too.
But this Chiefs team is like the Patriots dynasty, but enjoyable in that even though some people are starting to be like, another year of the Chiefs, it's not the same level we see with the Patriots. And the reason for that is for 3 things. 1, they don't cheat, which is the obvious. 2, they keep it fun and fresh on the field. Their style of play is always enjoyable. You never know what you're going to see. The trick play against the Raiders, the ring around the Rosie, yeah, that was disrespectful as hell, but it was fun.
Yeah,
and finally, their games are earned. Remember
Yes.
in the peak of the Patriots dynasty, every game they played was a blowout or a one-sided affair. Very rarely were the Patriots in tight-fought battles. When they were, usually it was only against like the Colts or the Steelers or one of the other big powerhouse teams. Usually the Patriots would just blow through everyone. The Chiefs don't do that. Yeah, they have a lot of one-sided games and a lot of their victories, are by big margins, but they also have
But
a
it's
lot of
pretty
really
to watch.
yeah, and they have a lot of close games, including game they play down to their competition sometimes. The Patriots
Yeah.
didn't really do that. And because of that, it feels like whenever the Chiefs are winning, they're earning it. So
Mhm.
to see them go 14-3 another year and be like, "Oh, the Arrowhead Invitational once again."
Yeah.
I'm maybe a little biased because I'm a Chiefs fan, but part of me is like, you know what? It's nice to have an established power that's fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And before we get into the off-season part, because there is something I want to say about that, it looked like any of these teams, except for I guess the Dolphins right now, can make a legitimate case to have an upset, make a deeper playoff run than expected, and I'm looking at the Giants.
Yeah.
Maybe I can definitely see that happening. So there's a lot of teams this year that have a legitimate case to make some noise.
Daniel Jones hasn't dropped his nuts that much yet.
Okay. Okay. Fair
Not
enough.
yet. Not yet. He's got a lot of work to do. He will beat the Vikings this weekend. I will give him that.
Yeah,
But-
that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, that's a little bit of an upset, and maybe not too far, but that's
I don't really look at that as an upset though, because they should have beat the Vikings in the regular season. They lost a
true.
61-yard last second field goal. So
That's true.
they really should have beat those guys in the regular season. I don't think the Vikings are a good team. The Vikings
No.
they had a good season. That's what they had. They had a very good season. I don't think they're a good team though, but because look, you take away Justin Jefferson. Look at that game against the Packers. You took away Justin Jefferson. That whole offense was shit. It shut down completely. It was like Kirk Cousins couldn't even be the guy that he was being the whole entire year that game for whatever reason. So they still have a lot of learning and stuff to do for that team to be a great team, because even though they came back and beat the Colts, there was no reason they should have been down 33-0 to the Colts. Colts.
Absolutely not.
Oh yeah.
So,
no.
I don't really think the Vikings impressed me, so I wouldn't really look at the Giants beating them as an upset, just due to them not being this great team that everyone portrays them to be. But I do see what you're saying, though. Them going to, in everyone else's eyes, them going to the divisional round will be like, them going farther than expected, or even some people may not even had them going to the playoffs. So this is already farther than they expected. But as far as like a Super Bowl run or some shit, hell no.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't see a Super Bowl run either. But the Vikings of this year, their record, I don't remember their 2017 record. I know the Eagles were number 1 in 2017. The Vikings were one of the top teams as well. They're either 2 or 3. I don't remember which.
I think was that the year you guys beat them in the NFC Championship, right?
Yeah, that's when we kicked their ass.
That was the Go Birds year.
They were the 2 seed then.
Yeah. So this team has a similar record to that team, but very different vibe. That Vikings team just looked damn good in 2017.
In 2017, the Vikings were arguably one of the best teams in the league. This year, this Vikings team, and I guess we could take this and segue into all of our playoff predictions for all the games. This game to me is the ultimate example of an immovable force versus unstoppable object.
Yeah.
In that you have a Giants team that every single game has come down to the wire, and they haven't looked great, but they've been good enough, versus a Vikings team that's looked great, but every single one of their games has been a nightmare. And these two teams, both of them, when they've played good, like actually good powerhouse teams, they've gotten the socks rocked off of them. So this is like the ultimate meme off. Two teams that two fraudy teams with a little sense of fraud going at it. Just who's going to come out on top? I think the Giants are. The Giants. There's something about this Giants team and the way they have rallied themselves around Brian Dable gives me the vibe that this Giants team could go on a deep run. So I firmly expect this Lions team to not Lions. This Giants
I wish
team.
it was the Lions.
I do too. I firmly expect this Giants team to beat in Philadelphia in the divisional round.
The I forgot what I was about to say. Go ahead.
No problem. So we talked about that game. Let's segue to the other NFC playoff games. What do we think about the Bucks Cowboys game? Because I'm not looking forward, even as a Bucks fan, I'm not looking forward to this one at all. Especially because
Well,
I remember their week 1 matchup. I have PTSD from how boring that game was. I don't want to go back.
Go ahead. If you were gonna say something.
Isn't Brady undefeated against the Cowboys?
He
is.
So
We'll probably win and then have San Francisco drag their nuts all over us in this divisional round.
No. This is the way I see this thing, and I said this maybe, I don't know. We'll have to run the tape, but I definitely said on the podcast a couple episodes ago. We're gonna see Tom Brady sneak to his 11th championship. And I told you guys, if this man gets in the playoffs, he's going to sneak his way there. He has Dallas this week, which he's never lost to. He's going to go into San Francisco and play a Brock Purdy team that's already beat him once, and he's going to be pissed off about that. Not only that, this is playoff Tom Brady. Isaac, I understand you're a Bucs fan. You know, you're all totally against it, this, that, and the third.
I don't have hope.
Listen, you can have no hope, but listen to what I'm telling you. At the end of the day, this is Tom Brady. Not only Tom Brady, this is playoff Tom Brady. So that means he's going to put up points. If your defense can get this guy one stop, the game is over. Because no matter if you guys are going back and forth with whatever team, you score, they score, you score, they score, one stop is all he needs. Because after that, the game's over. He can go up by 2 touchdowns. They get another stop, it's really over. He can go up by 3 touchdowns at that point. You let that man go up by 3 touchdowns, you might as well just walk away from the game. He's going to walk into week 1 against a team he's never lost to before in his career, playoffs or regular season. He'll go into San Francisco back at home. You know, I'm at home for the second time this year. I'm playing a team that dismantled me the last time I was over here. And not only that, it's the playoffs. Plus, I probably have another 100 people here again because, like I said, I'm back at home in San Francisco. I'm not losing again. He takes care of San Francisco, and then he probably goes into Philadelphia or Philadelphia.
Yeah. No, Philly's going to be in the NFC Championship game no matter what.
And you know, Philly is going to be the biggest test for anybody in the NFC just because of how well Jalen Hurts has progressed this year, the team that they have, the defense they have. It's going to be a dogfight. But at the end of the day, and I'm not saying he's just going to walk all over Philadelphia because we know the team that Philadelphia is 100%. But if he goes back and watches that film of Philadelphia versus Dallas, or not just him, but the team goes back and watches that film, Philadelphia versus Dallas, Philadelphia versus Washington when we beat them, and, you know, stuff like that, and they can have a game plan to challenge Jalen Hurts, to challenge the Philadelphia Eagles, we're going to watch Tom Brady walk to his 11th championship with a fucking losing record. And it's just going to prove even more why it took me so long to respect this guy until this year. Because this is the reason right here that I hated him so much. Because somehow, some way, he always finds a goddamn way. And it's just like LeBron in the NBA, how everybody hates LeBron when I bring LeBron up. Because somehow, some way, LeBron finds a goddamn way. If he gets in the playoffs, you know there's a chance. And with Brady in the playoffs, there's a chance for the Bucs. Always.
I'll give you this. There is a chance for us because Dallas did not impress me with their starters last week. With that being said, the way that we've been coached, the way that our run game is non-existent, and the way that our defense has been suspect this year, they started the year off great, but the second half of the season, they've disappointed me. I mean, how the hell do we give up 30 fucking points to the Falcons? Okay, sorry, let's get that out of the way. I don't know. Look, the NFC has gotten really tough this year. We could go all the way, but I just don't see us getting past the 49ers. I think but I do think that we will beat Dallas. I think it's going to be ugly though. It's going to be one of those games that, you know, years from now in the future, my grandkids are like, Grandpa, what do you remember this game when they're going through the history of the NFL playoffs? And I'm like, I get Vietnam War flashbacks. Just like, oh,
that PTSD chihuahua.
I remember that. It's like anytime someone brings up the 1999 NFC Championship game when the Rams played the Bucks and beat us 11-6.
You were a year old.
I reserve the right to be mad about that. Kylie, any thoughts on this matchup?
So we got on a whole tangent there. What was the matchup?
Dallas and Tampa.
Oh yeah, Tampa. Brady is undefeated against Dallas. Dak sucks. No.
Cowboys don't impress me at all.
Bucks by 1,000.
All right. One last NFC game before we do the AFC quickly. San Francisco is hosting Seattle to open the playoffs. I'm excited for this one because I think me and my fantasy football buddies are going to go watch this at a local bar. Just to also to present our fantasy football celebration for our champion. By the way, shout out to once again to Eric Goldstein who has won our league for the second time. Yeah, our championship game kind of got affected because you had Burrow and your opponent had Allen, and it was that game. But hey, what are you gonna do? Bigger than football. So congrats to Eric on winning the fantasy football championship and becoming our first multi-time winner. With that being said, Niners and Seahawks. Seattle just squeaked in because Detroit beat Green Bay, which, by the way,
beautiful.
Our goober of the week, Quay Walker of the Packers. Did y'all see what this motherfucker did?
Yeah.
How are you going to go and shove a medical personnel, especially after what happened recently in the league? And then there was a video of him walking into the tunnel, like crying, like, you know, the little kid cry, like, it's like, you got nobody to blame but yourself, man.
Yeah. Apparently this is not his first time doing this season. So,
jeez.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with him.
Yeah, we will.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. But this game, I think this game is a sleeper. I think San Francisco is going to win because that Niners team is frightening, and I think they're my pick to win the NFC. They've won 10 straight games. Brock Purdy has established himself as one of the. Is he spectacular? No, but he gets the job done. Very Nick Folesy in that he's come in and he's getting the job done, and he's playing damn good. Their defense is ridiculous. So I think they will win the NFC. I think that it's going to be Eagles, Niners in the NFC Championship, and I think that the Niners are going to win. However, Seattle's going to give them a run for their money. This Seahawks team snuck in. This Seahawks team is playing with a lot of heart. Everybody doubted them at the start of the season. Everyone said they made the worst trade in NFL history when they got rid of Russell Wilson. They're going to be tanking this year. This is going to be a rebuilding year. It's arguably Pete Carroll's last year. You know, they've completely moved on from the Legion of Boom era. Well, guess what? This Seahawks team not only finished with a winning record, but they finished with 4 more victories than the Broncos. They're going into a matchup against their arch rival, and they've got a quarterback who set a single season franchise record for passing yards and a running back who has been tearing up the charts at Kenneth Walker. The only issue with the Seahawks is that they don't really have a defense. So that's the only issue. I think this game is going to be a sleeper. I think San Francisco wins, but don't be surprised if this is one of those games where it comes down to the wire.
I agree.
1,000%. And there was something you said in there that goes back to my point about the Bucks as well. This game definitely is going to be a sleeper, but San Francisco, like you said, has won 10 straight. Eventually, you either keep winning and the streak doesn't end, or eventually you come to a stop, you know? Just like we saw Baltimore, they started that season 0-2, and then they won 14 straight and went 14-2. They get into the playoffs against the Titans, and they absolutely stink it the fuck up.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And then, like you said, Seattle's not going to just get walked over. They're coming in here very, very, very hungry. And it's a divisional game, you know, so they know this opponent like the back of their hand, especially Pete Carroll, because he's been in this division for however long now. He knows this opponent like the back of his hand. He's going to give them a dogfight. Like you said, Isaac, I definitely believe San Francisco comes out with the win. But with them having to put up this dogfight with their division rival, and then having in the back of their mind that Tom Brady's possibly coming in the next week after.
Yeah.
That's why I think this streak ends, because they're gonna have a tough fought game against a divisional opponent, and then you have the best quarterback to ever play the game coming into the stadium right 1 week later.
Yeah.
So that's a lot to game plan for. No matter how shitty the Bucs defense is, you're game planning for a divisional opponent and then probably the number one quarterback to ever play this game back-to-back weeks. So, you know, that's what has me set on the Bucs if they get past the Cowboys. That's what has me set on the Bucs beating San Francisco, because like you said, they've won 10 straight. Eventually streaks come to an end. You either keep winning or the streaks come to an end. And we saw Philadelphia 11 in a row. That streak came to an end. This week will be 11 in a row for San Fran. You know, the week after that will be Tampa Bay. That streak will come to an end.
No, I agree,
Interesting. All right, let's quickly do AFC. Get to the couple of things in the draft, and then move on.
Yeah. So AFC. I'll start with this one. If Lamar Jackson plays, Ravens-Bengals is going to be close. I think Cincinnati still wins. Just so we're clear, Cincinnati's my pick to win the AFC. I want to rock with my Chiefs, but at the end of the day, the Bengals, this Bengals team is frightening. Yeah, I think it's going to be Bengals 49ers for the Super Bowl, which would be the third time they've met in the Super Bowl, interestingly enough.
Interesting.
Yeah, Lamar's going to make it close if Lamar plays. If he doesn't play, it's not going to be a blowout. It's going to be like it was last week. One of those games where it's one-sided, but like the Bengals just won't put them away. So you get like a final score of like 27 to like 20. But that last touchdown was only scored in the final minutes. I think Cincinnati wins this one, but it's going to be
very, very close.
It could be close. It could be close. For Buffalo, Miami, with the news that Tua's not starting, it's most likely going to be Skylar Thompson. Give me Buffalo by 45. You guys thought Georgia TCU was bad. You ain't seen nothing.
Yeah. Which, by the way, this proves why the college football sucks. Anyway.
Yeah. Also, like Junior Goober of the week goes to Mattress Mac for betting $3 million on TCU and having the balls to be angry about it. You won $75 million. He won $75 million betting on the Astros. He has lost the right to get upset when he loses a bet. He has more money than he knows what to do with.
Do you have any idea how happy that made me?
I saw on Twitter you were very happy.
TCU is garbage.
Yeah,
Alabama.
No, they should not have been in there. They should not have been in there. And you know why they shouldn't have been there? They lost 2 games. They did not deserve to be there.
Technically, they were represented there because Saban was on the broadcast.
That
little weasel found a way to get Alabama in the national championship.
They did lose 2 games, but if you put them up against any 4 of those teams, well, not Georgia. If you put them up against the 3 teams, TCU, Michigan, and Ohio State, and you're a odds maker, are you making Alabama the underdog or the favorite?
Obviously, it's going to be Bama, but that's not the point.
That's
not the point.
That's the point right there.
No, it's not the point, because if
Bama would have destroyed all those guys. The only people that would have gave them a competition was Georgia. If Georgia-Bama played in this game, it would have been a lot more competitive.
Absolutely.
Same amount of points put on the board, 60 whatever points, but it would have been a lot more competitive.
Yeah, but if we're just going to go with, just because it's Alabama, they're going to make it competitive. Just because it's that, then why do we even have the committee to decide who's 1 through 4?
We really should, to be honest.
We should. Because Alabama did not belong in there. They lost 2 games, and they looked like shit against some of the teams that they did beat that were significantly lesser competition.
Those guys that were in there, they were some shit too. They didn't deserve to be in there. Michigan definitely didn't deserve to be in there. And neither did Ohio.
They only got in there because they kicked Ohio State's ass.
TCU didn't deserve to be in there either. The committee knew what they were doing when they set it up like that. Georgia was so dominant. Like, they really cheated us. They cheated us. That was the worst national championship I ever saw.
Yeah,
it was a terrible. It was a really bad natty. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But don't forget that TCU looked really good against Michigan, and Georgia only got in because their kicker, decided to just kick it to North Dakota.
he saw the ball drop on New Year's and
Yeah.
got distracted.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, Georgia was my pick to win from the beginning, but when you think about it like that,
All right.
Bama
We don't talk about college sports on this podcast. Let's
because college sports sucks, and this is why.
let's get back to the AFC real quick. I'll finish up my opinions. I'll go to you guys after that. The last AFC game, Jags Chargers. This is gonna be a sleeper too. Give me Jacksonville. The
Yeah,
Chargers, I
really.
feel like, aren't as impressive as they could have been this season. Justin Herbert's been playing good, but this Chargers team has also had a lot of injuries. I think that Jacksonville, the heart that they showed against the Titans, I think that they could pull off the upset here, and they'll be the one that has to go in and play the Chiefs at Arrowhead and get destroyed. So you know how it'd be. Yeah, that's my pick. Calvin, what are your takes on the AFC games?
Well, you said if Lamar plays, they'll keep it close. If Lamar plays, they win. The reason I say that is because I don't care what the defense says, what the defense does. I sent Kylie a stat the other day. Let me see. I'm going to pull it up here. So 2001, the Ravens start the season 8-3 with a healthy Lamar. They're the number 3 seed. Lamar gets injured. Ravens lose out and fall to 8-9. 2022, Ravens start the season 8-4 with a healthy Lamar. Lamar gets injured. The Ravens lose half their games and fall to 10-6. So the Ravens don't work without Lamar Jackson.
No.
You put 8 on the field, a lot of things change. And honestly, the Bengals should have beat the Ravens by 50 last weekend with Anthony Brown starting at quarterback. For that game to be as close as it was with the Bengals having their starters in that long was absolutely amazing to me. There was no reason at all Baltimore should have been in that football game. And that just shows you that defense can hang on and run with these top teams in the NFL, you know, because they didn't get 50-pieced. And there was a point in time where if the Baltimore offense is not turning the ball over so much, that ball game may end in a 3 to 5 point ball game.
Yeah.
So I believe with Lamar Jackson on the field, it changes the ball game a lot because not only does it change the passing game, it changes the running game. It changes the way that Cincinnati has to game plan because Cincinnati didn't have to game plan for Lamar Jackson last week. They game planned for a third string Anthony Brown, and he still put up a dog fight against those guys. Mm-hmm. So Lamar is 4 or 5 weeks out now, not playing. He's hungry. He's determined. Yep. Every year he's gotten to the playoffs, he's been kicked out in the first round. And I don't believe that, you know, if Lamar plays, I don't believe as hard as a worker he is that he gets kicked out in the first round this year.
I agree.
I really, you know, the analysts, the statistics, everything points to the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as number 8's on that field, like I tell you guys every week, the Ravens have a chance, and I'm going with the Ravens as long as number 8 is on that field.
Yeah, I'm picking the Bengals, but it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if Baltimore wins. Like, I love Lamar Jackson. I want the Ravens to win, but I just don't know if that's going to happen. So I'm going with the safer bet, but I could definitely see either one happening. But the other matchup we have is we did Dolphins and Bills, and
Bills I love by 1,000.
Yeah. I mean, we did that before Tua even was officially out. Like,
yeah.
But so, I mean, it sucks.
The Chargers game. I mean, I love the Jags. Jags are definitely the hotter team. They look good. They beat the Chargers in the regular season, but it is hard to beat a football team twice.
Yeah.
And not only that, I feel this is Justin Herbert's first time in the playoffs. This is also Trevor Lawrence's first time in the playoffs as well. But I just feel as if Herbert has a bigger chip on his shoulder. The reason I say that is because the Chargers, you expect the Chargers to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Guys, no matter what, even with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback, you don't look at the Jags as a team that you expect to be great every year. just because Trevor Lawrence is at quarterback. Like at the end of the day, you like it's the Jags, you know. So
Mhm.
I feel as if Justin Herbert has a bigger chip on his shoulder, and you know him playing with that chip on his shoulder, I feel like he comes out and has a great performance this week. He has a healthy Keenan Allen. He has a healthy receiving core, and that's what
Yep.
he hasn't had in a long time. So with that healthy receiving core, I think that these guys can come out and give us a great ball game. I do think it'll be a very close game.
Mhm.
Whatever side wins, I think it'll be like a 3 to 7 point game, but I do think the Chargers come out with the victory.
Yeah, I could see that happening, but I'm rolling with my guy Dougie P. I have to.
Yep.
But enough with the playoffs and everything. One final thing is the NFL draft. Is the order is now official except for the playoff teams. First overall pick goes to Chicago. Texans get the number 2 overall pick because they're stupid.
Well,
So,
the Texans know that the Bears aren't going to take a quarterback.
but Chicago has all the power. They can trade. They should trade. They need to trade the pick.
They really don't have any use for it.
They don't have any use for it. They can go down later in the draft. Chicago needs to trade the number 1 overall pick. Do not mess this up. Like, trade the pick, use the assets, and build around Justin Fields. He is your guy. Go with that. This is your golden opportunity to really bolster this roster. You have like $100 million in cap or something like that. Like, you have a ridiculous amount of cap money. You have all this. You have the number 1 overall pick, which you don't need because you have a quarterback. Do not draft a quarterback. Do not draft the first overall pick. Trade that down to 3 or 4. I know Arizona's at 3, but I don't know if they're going to take the same guy that Chicago's looking at. I forget the name of him. But Chicago needs to absolutely trade that draft pick. I don't think there's any other way. Will Anderson. That's who Chicago would take. He's an edge. And Tankathon has Jalen Carter going to Arizona at 3. So if I'm Indianapolis, I am panicking. I am definitely panicking because the Raiders can trade up. I don't know what they would have to trade other than, what would they even trade? I don't know. Maybe Devontae Adams? Maybe, if that.
Maybe.
The Colts, I don't even know if they have anything other than that draft pick to trade at this point. They have I don't know their all their assets, but if Indianapolis they need a quarterback and they are in line to get CJ Stroud at 4, but Chicago can easily trade and they should trade the number 1 overall pick. So if I'm Indy, I'm panicking. If I'm Detroit, I'm looking at it potentially. I mean, I'd be fine with Goff. Goff isn't terrible. But I could definitely see Detroit trading up to get the number 1 overall pick and get a quarterback. The Raiders are probably the team to get them because they have Devontae Adams and the 7th overall pick. But Chicago might not do that because it drops them down to 7, and Will Anderson is not falling that far at all. He probably would go to number 3 to the Cardinals. So there's that. And Chicago could also address the wide receiver position, trade to get D-Hop. But I don't think D-Hop is worth the number 1 overall pick. So it would probably have to be a 3-team trade. So I don't know. It's Chicago is in the best position to have the best offseason this year. Without a doubt.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, they got the money. They got the assets. Like, they can really bolster this roster. Because the Texans are stupid. but that's enough football. We've beat football to death.
Yeah.
Let's go to what I want to talk about. Let's go to the MLB, where Carlos Correa is officially a Minnesota Twin.
I have no idea how all this happened. It's ridiculous.
It's beautiful. And here's a stat. Carlos Correa wound up setting a record that should never be broken.
What is that
He
record?
agreed to $865 million and 29 years worth of contracts in 28 days.
I don't know if he's. I just have no words for this. I'd hate to be a Mets or a Giants fan. I wish we knew
Or a
Mets
Twins fan.
I wish we knew a Mets fan who could give us some insight into what it's like to have him step through
Yeah.
the Oh wait, we do. We do have a Mets fan who can do that.
Just like I said to Kylie the other day when she sent me the text that he went back to the Twins, I said, "Well, the Mets are going to be the Mets." You know, that's what
You want to hear the official clip from that?
Yeah,
I kept it because it was funny.
Sure.
Did you hear it?
No, I did not.
What?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I just played it. What?
I thought you were waiting for us.
No, I literally played it. What the hell? Oh, I guess because it's connected to my man, whatever. It's connected to my headphones, so
Ha!
whatever. Yeah, he said realistically the Mets are gonna Met. So
Mets are gonna Met, and I think they just met it all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's pretty much all the MLB news they had this week. It's very slow.
Baseball's coming back
week.
soon, man. Don't worry. Baseball's gonna be back soon.
33 days till pitchers and catchers report, and I cannot wait. I miss
Soon
baseball.
there will be nothing to talk about but baseball, and the Yankees
Yeah,
will
right?
finally win the 28th World Series.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you sound like every Yankees fan. Like
I-
we missed the playoffs for 11 years and still made it back to the World Series before you guys.
I need it. I need 28 World Series.
No, you don't, and the rest of the Yankees fans don't either. You guys are fine. You have plenty of time. Shut up.
Oh, too much shit. Blah.
Let's go to the NBA. And one thing I want to mention before we go into this, I cannot stand Jokic.
Oh, what did he do?
He's leading in MVP votes.
Really?
Yes.
I haven't even watched the NBA. I haven't really watched the NBA this much this year, but
Good. It sucks.
like, yeah, what? I haven't heard his name enough for him to be in the MVP leading vote.
He's literally leading the league in the MVP voting right now. It should be Luka, Tatum, or Embiid.
Yeah,
Like a three-peat of an MVP is like one of the best players of all time. Jokic isn't even the best player
in
at his position right now.
yeah.
Like, this is so ridiculous.
Ooh.
Like, the media is constantly changing the narrative of the MVP. And at this point, if it was the same narrative as last year, Embiid would have won it 2 years in a row. And I sound like I'm biased because, I'm a Sixers fan, but literally this is such bullshit. Jokic is not that good.
Yeah.
He is without a doubt the most overrated player in the NBA. It's not to say he's not good. He is a very good basketball player, like one of the top, literally like the second best center in the league right now. But to be leading the league in MVP voting for a third straight year when he shouldn't have won it last year, and you could argue he shouldn't have won it the year before.
He's not even the best player.
He's not. And yeah, because the Jokic has players around him and he can dish it to players now. But literally, it's ridiculous at this point.
Ugh.
He's
Yeah.
become so overrated. And it's not because he's not good. It's because he's good, but the media is just so stupid. media should not have a say in who gets the MVP because they are so ridiculously stupid. It's not even funny. You have people like Skip Bayless doing shit like this, and it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
I mean, ooh, excuse me. Sorry. Ooh, excuse me. I mean, you heard it here first, folks. Don't mention the name Nikola Jokic in front of
Most
Kylie.
overrated player in the NBA. I swear to God.
Jokic. You've given me so much ammo to use at work now, Kylie. Whenever we're working together, just walk by while Kylie's carrying something heavy. Jokic.
It's not even like gonna set me off because it's just gonna make me laugh because he's just ridiculously overrated at this point. And again, for like the fourth or fifth time, it is not to say he's not good. He is very, very good, one of the best in the league, but not better than Embiid.
I have to agree. He's this season. This season, Luka is either Luka or LeBron are my MVP picks this season because of how good they're doing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I feel your pain, Kylie. I really feel your pain.
It's just annoying, and I don't even care that Embiid's never gonna get it. I don't care. We have bigger aspirations than some stupid regular season award that is clearly meaningless now. This dude has won 2 playoff series in years of him going to the playoffs. At least we constantly get to the second round. Like, whatever. He's overrated. That's all I gotta say.
Talk your talk.
Overrated. But some more things, the Bucks have their biggest comeback win of the season, 17 points. Drew Holiday had a great game.
Yeah.
And then LeBron being LeBron, voicing his opinion on the trade deadline, saying, y'all know what the fuck should be happening. I don't need to talk. He's right. The Lakers need to make a move. But will they? Doubt it.
We already knew that, though.
Yeah. Will they even get Kyle Kuzma back? I don't know.
Nah,
I hope not.
Washington can keep Kyle Kuzma. We're cool off him.
Hey, Kuzma's good. Don't diss Kuzma.
He doesn't really impress me too much. He's cool. He has a couple.
Yeah, true.
I'd rather have Brandon Ingram back.
Yeah, for sure. KJ Martin entered the dunk contest. I don't know if you guys saw that.
KJ Martin is in it?
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know
But
how I feel about that.
the dunk contest is not filled with who we want to see really anymore. But
They just
like
find the
I want to
most
see
ran-
LeBron in it.
They just find the most random names.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, some players just don't want to do it. I mean, it's fine. But one last thing, which is I thought was hysterical. The Suns have not scored more than 100 points this season yet. They haven't reached
Suns?
100. Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
incredible.
Yeah, they have not.
Are you sure?
Positive.
You're not messing with us?
Nope, swear to God. Look it up.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay then. Well,
I just thought that was weird and funny.
What?
I know.
How?
I know.
How?
I don't know. Beats me. Yeah. Beats me.
Segue while what? Segue.
Yeah, segue to the
Segue.
NHL. Yeah. So while Isaac struggles to deal with reality,
Huh?
yeah.
Wait,
So
I gotta look now.
yeah, look it up. So Justin Kirkland leaves the hospital 2 days after a car crash. He's okay.
Yeah. Good. Love it.
Thank God. Yeah. Tom Wilson and Nicholas Backstrom made their season debuts on Sunday night. So I'm glad to see they're okay. They both had major surgeries. Tom Wilson, I think, had an ACL surgery, and I forget what Backstrom had, but
Mr. Brazil.
yeah,
Glad to see Tom Wilson's back. Can't wait to see how long it takes for him to piss somebody off.
right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
It would be
another.
it's not officially the NHL. Excuse me. Jeez. It's not officially the NHL season if Tom Wilson doesn't cause a major fight by saying something about someone's mother.
Yeah, seriously. And then another star player returns. Jack Eichel returns, and he has a goal and 2 assists in the Knights win. Y'all remember when that trade was looming and the whole drama was happening with him on the Sabres? Y'all remember that? That was an event. And then they traded him for nothing. I forget what the trade was, but they traded him for literally nothing.
Wait, sorry, I missed it. I was
What were
looking
you
at
missing?
I was looking at a betting line for today.
Of course. Hey, speaking of betting, that Eagles game won me $40 because I bet $10 on Boston Scott having a touchdown, and that was the only touchdown of the game.
That's crazy.
So that was luck right there. He's a Giants killer, so it was an easy $40 to make.
Hey, before we finish up today's episode, I quickly want to hear your guys' Super Bowl predictions. Who you think the Super Bowl's going to be?
Can I give 2?
You can get one, and you'll be happy with it.
For me, I'm going with right now. I don't want to bet against Philly, but at the same time, I really just see it being San Francisco and the Bills. I really see that happening.
San Francisco and the Bills. I'm going San Francisco, Cincinnati, but I respect it. I think the Bills are my backup in case San Francisco loses out, and
The
my
Eagles are
backup,
my backup.
my backup in case San Francisco, because I'm so convinced San Francisco is just going to destroy the NFC. My backup is my backup matchup is Buffalo and Seattle.
What?
The only way that San Francisco isn't the NFC champion is if they lose to Seattle, and if Seattle wins, they're going all the way.
So you're not giving Philly a chance at all?
Oh, Philly can be my third chance.
No,
Philly,
I only get 2.
My third place matchup is Philly versus Kansas City.
No, you get 2. Ooh, that would be good. Andy Reid revenge.
That would be good too, but unfortunately,
be
number
good.
1 seeds facing off against each other.
Never happens.
When was the last time that happened? Hang on, you guys talk. Let me try and find the last time that was that the 2 number 1 seeds played each other. It wasn't last year. Was it?
Calvin, who you betting? Or who are you? What's your pick?
Give me Baltimore
Of course.
and the Bucks.
Interesting.
I like it. Last time that the 2 number 1 seeds played each other was 2017 when the Eagles played the Patriots.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot they had the same record too, 13-3.
Yeah, there were a lot of teams with 13-3 records that year. The top 4
Really?
seeds the top 4 seeds all had 13-3 records. New England,
Well,
Pittsburgh,
shit.
Philadelphia, and Minnesota.
Oh.
To be fair, Eagles should have been 14-2, but Nick Foles.
Yeah, thanks, Foles. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Whatever. It was only against the Cowboys. No big deal. All right, send this off, Isaac.
Thank you guys so much for watching or tuning into, if you're listening, this week's episode of the Beer Battered Sports Podcast. Once again, this show is brought to you by the Fired Up Sports Podcast Network. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch at BBSports_pod and interact with us live on Facebook or YouTube. We always love to read your guys' comments. I'm a little disappointed we didn't get a lot of comments. That makes me sad. Don't make me sad.
I blame Mike.
I blame Mike too.
And
Mike.
where's Defender of the North?
Yeah. You guys want any of our merch, you can head over to the link in our Twitter bio to get some of the merch. Great quality sweatshirt, shirts, fun for the whole family. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's episode. We will see you next week where we will talk with the wild card round of the playoffs and see how our predictions turned out. Peace.
Bye, guys.
See you, everybody.